Was good with y'all, was good, was good. Now, if you're a person who struggles to love themselves outside of a relationship, this video specifically is for you. Now, to begin, we gotta understand that love is the highest form of human expression. Love is so powerful that it can drive the force of the creation of another fucking species or of another human being. There's a reason why they say when a man loves a woman, because when a man loves a woman, he wants to settle down with her. When a woman loves a man, she wants to allow herself to get impregnated by his seed. Okay, so with that being said, we have to understand and realize that love is a very powerful force that can not only drive people to success, but can also drive people to failure. And if you're somebody who needs to love themselves within a relationship, then there are certain things within yourself that you need to evaluate. And I wanted to make a completely separate video on this topic, but I'm gonna talk about it here. I've come to realize that I don't truly believe in the concept of healing anymore. Now, what I mean by that is that our idea of healing centers on this idea of ourselves that we are fundamentally broken. Because think about it, to imply or to heal is to imply that there's something about you or something about something that is damaged, broken, or not functioning at 100%. And that's not who we are as people. We have to really start to begin to ask ourselves fundamentally and internally who we are as people. What about you is so fundamentally broken and so damaged that you feel like you need to go out of your way and change something about you? It's not that there's something that's damaged about you, it's something that's damaged about your mindset. Think of it like this. If I'm someone who's emotionally invested into a girl versus someone who's not as emotionally invested into the same girl, the difference between the two of us is the mindset and the experience behind this person. Why is it that me being emotionally invested into this girl broke me down, meanwhile someone who also dated the same girl isn't as emotionally invested and it only took him 2 days to heal, quote unquote, right? Why did it take me 8 months to heal and it took him 8 days to heal? The only difference is the internalized belief system and the mindset behind the experience of the transaction. I'll give you another example. Not one that's related to healing necessarily, but someone who gets $1 million and loses it as a result of a catastrophic event, does that make him any less successful of a human being or as of a millionaire? No. That just simply means that the same mindset that he used to get that money, he lost it and can get that shit again. So I'm saying all of this to say that our internalized belief system and our mindset about healing is what creates the healing. Alright, so boom. As I was editing the video, I forgot to mention what I was thinking about was that when it comes to experience, there's nothing wrong with experience. You can't heal from experience. Because one time, me and my friend, we was talking, he asked me a question. He said, Jacob, if me and you ever were to stop being friends, what's one thing that you would take from our connection? What's one thing that you would take from our relationship, our connection? And I told him the only thing to take from our relationship is experience. You can't heal from experience. You can change your mindset about said experience and you can take certain bits and pieces from that experience, but you can't heal from experience. It's about your internalized perception about the experience that creates all the hurt and all the trauma. The truth is reality. Me walking down to the other side of the street is the truth. That's irrefutable. You can't go against that. But it's the narrative that's told about me walking down the street that creates all the lies and all the hurt, which creates trauma. If I'm in that state of contentment and enjoyment within myself all the time, there is no love to look for because I already have that within me. And later in the video, I also talk about how by not having that love at some point in my life, as you'll see, you know, I started to question myself. I started to ask myself all of these existential questions and started to question my worth. But when you're in the space of not looking for love as a result of wholeness and fullness, then you can't really question yourself because you'll start to realize that you're not the problem. Again, as I'll talk about later in the video, but you got to understand that when I was with that girl, it's kind of as though she filled a gap within my mind and within my heart that later on, I found that I could feel myself through how I perceived myself in every single situation. Because when she was there, I wasn't questioning myself. I wasn't questioning my reality. Because it's kind of as though she was filling in a gap in my mindset that I didn't have before. And again, I realized that I could fill in that my own gap by myself by not asking myself all of these questions that had no bearing on my reality. Think about it. At the end of your healing journey, right? At the end of your healing journey, what changes about you fundamentally? Take away the trauma, take away the pain, take away the hurt, take away the suffering, take away all the low vibrational emotions that went into that experience. What changes about who you are as a soul, or as God in the flesh, or whoever you like to interpret yourself as? What changes about your fundamental existence that you feel like you needed to heal in the first place? So it really comes down to changing how we believe ourselves in a situation. Healing is going to sleep and waking up enough times every single day to where the shit that used to bother you doesn't bother you anymore. And the only difference between day 1 of healing versus day 99 of healing is the belief system and the mindset behind what you went through. And as somebody who went through a really fucked up breakup and used to really love this girl, I changed my mindset about how I view myself and how I viewed the situation. Because you got to understand that hurt is a mindset. Why is it that two people can go through the same scenario or situation and one comes out a god and one comes out broken? One comes out very, very damaged. The only difference is the mindset and the belief system behind that. It's not that that other person hurts you. It's just that they served as a catalyst for you to hurt yourself through your internalized belief system. Because you got to realize that it doesn't matter what you go through. One person could go through something and not feel anything at all, but another person can go through the same thing and take away a completely different experience. The only difference is how we believe, what we believe about ourselves in the moment. So with that being said, because now we touched on mindset, we can get into the fact that in society, including myself sometimes, we chase love. Love is the creative force and the energy that supplies and supplements all of our human endeavors. People live, people have houses, people have connections with other people, all because we want love. Our most fundamental desire is to experience and give love. This is why naturally we are very giving people, because it feels good to give to other people. Sometimes it feels better than receiving. Just knowing that you're doing an act of service, an act of kindness, an act of goodness to someone else, and you're giving them that love, it sometimes feels better than receiving it yourself. So with that being said, with love, we have to understand that it's okay to not find love out of every single avenue. And I'm even making this video for myself, okay? It's okay to not have to look for love out of every single avenue. Because to look or to chase is to imply that the thing that you want, you don't have already. And although you may not have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, that doesn't mean you can't be in that space of love all the time. You can't find something or look for something that you already have. For example, I don't need to find my car keys if I already know that I'm in possession or if I know where they are already. You can't look for something that you're not finding for. That just doesn't exist. You have to understand and realize that the moment that humans fell from grace is when we started to separate ourselves from the love that is always being emanated from the divine. This idea that we need to find external love, this idea that we need to go look through every single crevice, every single nook and cranny in order to be able to find love, that just doesn't exist. And this idea of love is very third dimensional. It's very matrix-like, if you will. Being in a relationship is not the end-all be-all of human existence. You have to understand that a relationship is simply a means of human expression. We express our love from person to person through relationships, and we only give a label to the vibration of giving love to other people. But again, going back to the fundamental aspect of ourselves, what changes about who we are fundamentally as human beings the second we give love to other people? The only difference is that as opposed to giving that love to somebody else, you're giving it to yourself. Because what changes about you the second that you get in or out of a relationship? The only thing that changes, or the only thing that defines you separately from anybody else, is your mindset and your internalized belief system about yourself, also known as the ego. So it's okay to not have a relationship, but it's not okay to separate yourself from love as though you don't have it right now. And I'll give you an example for myself. Every time I come on this YouTube channel, I speak from personal experience, okay? Not only am I educating or helping other people, I'm speaking from personal experience, and I love transparency. So with that being said, I went through a situation where I was talking to this one girl, and before her, I was going through some shit mentally, okay? Whether it be about my internalized belief system or whatever the case may be, I was internally not feeling within that love vibration, okay? So this girl came along, and me and her, we was chopping it up, and it was cool, it was calm. That shit lasted only about a month, right? But I realized that the second that me and her stopped talking, it's kind of as if I went back to that old way of being. And I had to sit back and realize what changed about myself before and after she came into my life, because I went back to those same thought forms and those same matrices and them same programs and them same ways of being, thinking, and living and doing. I went back to those same ways after her leaving my life. And before her and after her, I'm still Jacob Griffin. I'm still Jacob Abraham Griffin. So what changes about me? So I had to sit back and I had to think about it, and I realized that nothing changes. It's like, why do I go to school looking for love out of every single avenue, going to stores, going places, thinking, damn, am I finally gonna meet somebody who's gonna be my match? Am I finally gonna meet somebody in this area or in that area who's gonna spiritually advance me and pour into my cup and I could pour into theirs as well? Always asking myself these questions, but it's as if when Shorty was in my life, you know, I wasn't asking those questions. I wasn't questioning myself. I wasn't asking myself these existential questions and questioning my worth when she was around. So the only difference is that she was the catalyst for a switch in my mindset. And because she was the catalyst for the switch in my mindset, I had to realize that I can maintain that same mindset despite her not being in my life, and that's okay too. And so with that being said, in closing remarks, it's okay to heal through your mindset. Every time I ask somebody what it means to heal, nobody ever gives me an answer. Healing doesn't entail sitting in your bed for hours upon hours upon hours on a day, soaking in your sadness. It's about changing your mindset and your internalized belief system so that later in the future, as you continue to wake up, that shit doesn't bother you anymore. When someone says that they need to work on themselves or that they need to work on something, I always ask them, okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? And I'm never given an answer. That's because the only way that you could truly work on yourself is through your mind and through your perception of self. Healing isn't going back to those same scenarios that once brought you subjugation and degradation. So it's all right to sometimes not want to expose yourself to the ideas and to the experiences that once brought you hurt. It's like if you put your hand over some fucking fire. Why would you put your hand over the fire again if it hurt you one time? It's the same with mental healing. Why would I go back mentally to the spot that once hurt me and brought me so much pain? And it's not being scared to experience, it's about protecting yourself. If I put my hand over the fire and I burn myself 9 times, 99.9 times out of fucking 100,000, I'm not going to put my hand over there again because I don't want to hurt myself. And again, it's the same with mental pain. You don't have to continue to go back to those same ways of thinking and exposure to the certain things that used to hurt you anymore. You don't have to do that. So with that being said, I love myself through you. We're going to rock out, have a beautiful, blessed, productive, and successful day. And remember, the goal of life is not just to be infinitely great. It's to be greater than infinity. Peace.